What you are seeing, is it really what it is? Or are you only seeing what you have been allowed to see? Because humanity's oldest habit has always been to accept whatever appears in front of the eyes as the complete truth, without realizing that there is often a deep gap between what is seen and what actually is. We see with our eyes, but we understand with our minds, and even the mind only understands what it has been trained to understand. From childhood to this very moment, we have grown inside a predefined framework where answers were given more often than questions, and those answers were repeated so many times that they eventually started to feel like our own thoughts. We were told what is right, what is wrong, what should be believed and what should not, and slowly we accepted that this was everything. This is the world, this is the truth. While in reality, it was only one layer, but that layer was so thick that we never felt the need to look beneath it. Every day we wake up, work, speak, think, make decisions, and we believe that all of this is our own choice. But if we honestly ask ourselves, we will find that most of our decisions are born out of fear. Fear of not being accepted, fear of being left alone. And this fear forces us to walk the same path where many others are already walking, because moving with the crowd creates an illusion of safety, an illusion that if everyone is doing this, then this must be right. But history is proof that truth has never walked with the crowd. Truth has always stood alone, and yet we are afraid to stand alone, because loneliness forces us to hear our own voice, and listening to our own voice is the hardest thing to do. There are no excuses there, no one else to blame, only you and your questions. And perhaps that is why we run away from questions, because questions place us face to face with the beliefs we ourselves have built. They force us to think, if what we have believed all this time turns out to be incomplete or wrong, then who are we? On what foundation is our life standing? This thought alone becomes so heavy that a person searches for every possible way to escape it, staying busy, drowning in entertainment, getting trapped in comparison, just so that the faint discomfort rising inside can be silenced. But that discomfort does not disappear. It only grows deeper, and then there comes a time when, despite having everything, a sense of emptiness is felt inside, as if something is missing, as if something is wrong, and we name it tiredness, boredom, or sadness. But in reality, it is the knock of our consciousness, reminding us that we are not just what we have been told we are far more than that. But to reach that more, we must first accept that maybe our world is not exactly how it has been shown to us. Maybe our beliefs are not as strong as we think. Maybe our understanding is limited, and this acceptance is the biggest step, because the moment a person accepts that they do not know everything, that is the exact moment real learning begins. But this beginning is not comfortable. It disturbs you. It steals your sleep. It forces you to doubt your own thoughts, and many people stop right there. They return to the old patterns, because living with questions requires courage, and courage means accepting uncertainty, accepting that not everything will have an immediate answer, that some questions must be lived with, and perhaps those very questions will make you more honest, more sensitive, and more aware from within. The purpose of this video is not to scare you, nor is it to say that everything you have learned is useless. Its only purpose is to make you pause for a moment, take a breath, and ask yourself, have you ever looked at the world without borrowed ideas? Have you ever placed your beliefs in front of you without defending them? Have you ever accepted that what you are seeing might not be the complete truth? Because the day you accept this, your vision begins to change. And when vision changes, the world automatically appears different. The same roads, the same people, the same events, but the one who is seeing has changed. And this change is the most real, because it does not happen outside, it happens within. And if you have stayed until this point, it does not mean that you have understood everything. It only means that you are becoming ready to understand. And this readiness is the most important part of the journey ahead. When a person begins to accept that what they are seeing might not be the entire truth, that is when the real journey begins. Until that moment, they are only living on the surface, supported by predefined beliefs and borrowed ideas. But the moment the first crack appears, the inner world begins to shake. Old answers start to feel meaningless, and a new restlessness is born. This restlessness is not ordinary. It is the discomfort that separates you from the crowd, where there is no guide and no ready-made map, only you and your questions. And this is where most people step back in fear, because asking questions is easy, but living with them is difficult. Questions force you to collide with your identity. They ask, who are you really? The person society created, or the one quietly buried somewhere inside? This collision is painful, because humans grow deeply attached to the identities they have created, even if those identities are causing them pain. We become familiar with our suffering, and familiar pain feels safer than unknown truth. That is why many times we choose the life we are are already tired of, instead of choosing to know the truth. But the truth is, what remains suppressed inside never dies. It only grows heavier with time. And one day, suddenly, in some lonely moment, in some quiet second, it stands right in front of you. And then you realize that the emptiness you were running from was actually calling you back to yourself. Because the greatest misfortune of a human being is not that they live in illusion, but that they fall in love with that illusion, believing it to be the truth. And when someone points at that illusion, it feels like a threat. That is why society, systems, and crowds are always uncomfortable with voices that question. Do not rush to conclusions. They do not immediately accept everything. They listen, they observe, and then they ask themselves, what does this have to do with my life? And this question separates them from the crowd, because the crowd never asks. The crowd only repeats. And the moment you stop repeating, you become alone. But this loneliness slowly turns into clarity. A clarity where you begin to take responsibility instead of blaming others. You begin to understand that your happiness, your sorrow, your peace are not connected to any external system, but to your perspective. And as this perspective becomes clearer, life begins to feel lighter. Problems do not disappear, but their weight reduces. Because now you are not running away from them. You are seeing them, accepting them. And this acceptance is not weakness. It is the deepest form of strength. Because the one who can see themselves can also see the world without fear. The purpose of this video is not to bring you to a conclusion, but to bring you to a place where you are free from conclusions. Because when a person stops defining everything immediately, they truly begin to experience. And experience is far deeper than knowledge. It does not come from books. It comes from silence, from honesty, and from the moment you accept that you do not know everything, but the desire to know is still alive. And if that desire is alive, it means you are still awake. Not fully, but in the process of awakening. And this process is the most valuable thing, because awakening is not an event, it is a journey. And in this journey, there is no final destination, only an ever-expanding ability to see. And as this ability to see grows, the world no longer appears the way it was shown to you, but the way it truly is. And in that moment, a human being begins to truly live for the first time.